Day game, dealing with flakes. Hey, do you know that it's not about more game that reduces flakes or a bigger numbers game? I know it sounds crazy because we're so used to hearing it's all about giving direct compliments and using more mystery method style game techniques and RSD mass approaching that will stop all the flaking, but it actually gives you 10 times the flakes. And while you may think that's important to have tactics and strategy, I'm going to share with you three secrets with you today. And that's going to revolutionize the way you understand how day game really works for female nature in terms of flaking. I'm John Elite. I'm the world's best day game coach. In case you guys don't know, this is my second channel, which is the first time I made a stream. It crashed the first time, so we have to repost it for a second time. Okay. And I've already posted a link to it. It should be live, which is good. So I'm the world's best day game coach, 666 latent testimonials for day game. So it's quite a lot. That's like 666 instances. So if a student gets 100 lays, that's still one instance. If he comes back, credits my coaching. Does that make sense? So I don't miscount it. If they get a couple lays in a row, and then it only counts as one if they come back after a couple months. So that's how it works. But here's the thing. So what is burning a DVD concept? So, well, I don't have a DVD. I only got like a Blu-ray. I know it's not the newest thing. I used to collect Blu-ray movies. So I found The Dark Knight, right? So this is the only example of a disc. I couldn't find the original disc. I must have lost it somewhere, right? But we'll just use a DVD or Blu-ray, okay? So here's the disc. Let's just, for example, here's a disc. Here's Heath Ledger, right? My hand's his mouth. But a lot of things about female nature, it's exactly a lot like a DVD. So what is burning a DVD concept? Even if Gen Z has no idea what a DVD is, they might know what a Blu-ray is, right? All right. So it's when you're talking with a woman, right? And it's scored out of 35 points. She's constantly burning the DVD score for your value and skills. So, for example, every time she's looking at your looks, now she's burning it in here as a spinning, a pattern. Your looks is out of 10 as it keeps burning the laser in there as you're talking with her. Money is out of 5. She looks up and down. She can assess your value by the way you dress. Are you whitewash husband material? And then also status, your natural status, your ethnicity is always being burnt right in the very beginning of the disc. So the beam is burning everything in the beginning. So it's already scoring because when you start speaking with women, have you noticed for some of you, not all of you, they start to look up and down like this. And then she stays there. You wonder, why is she acting like that? She's seeing friend or foe, enemy or friend. She doesn't know. So, hey, what's up? I haven't burned a DVD in more than 10 years. Exactly. It's an old concept, but I want to explain how it's like in terms of women, right? And why they flake. It's a lot like a DVD. It really is. And also your social skills. If you just keep making statements and it's burning the DVD, this is a Blu-ray, but it's actually for Gen Z, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But you get it? The social skills will be low score. If you make a statement, you look like XYZ, and then she gives a short answer. And then you say, oh, are you XYZ? You ask another question. You get another short answer. Now the score is like 0 or 0.5, which is really, really low. That's bad. So you want to make sure that when you're burning DVD for your body language, if you're squaring off like most of the pickup artists who is going direct, there's also burning a low DVD. So already you have like very low score, maybe 0.5. You got one score for total for skills. Your emotional control, especially during this inflation. If your voice sounds very like depressed at the end of the sentence, you sound very lethargic and breathing out or something like that, then she's gonna think you're very depressed. When she thinks you're very depressed and she's burning that in the DVD, that's like minus 2.5. So that 1 point that you got, now it's like gone. And lastly, game. These are the mystery method tactics. And you're burning all these game tactics. My students don't need game that much. The only game that they need is maneuver, like insta dates, uh, venue changes, pulling her home, and then sexualizing it to the maximum at some point, to the max, so you can get sexual objections out. Maneuver, sexualize, objections, looping. Is that simple? So that's all the game that you really need. If she talks more, you flirt more. It's that simple. It's not rocket science, but it takes training to get there. But when they burn a DVD, their game is always like push pulls, sexualizing it, DHV stories, direct compliments, and it gives you a very low score. That's not what you want. So that's what's happening. So when you burn all this stuff, right? And what happens is that when everything is burned, looks out of 10, money out of 5, status out of 10, social skills, 2.5 points, social calibration is 2.5 points, emotional control, 2.5. But emotional control can be minus 2.5 points. This is the only one category in the world that you can burn the DVD. Don't mind the Dark Knight. It's just like, so this is a bonus feature DVD, like Blu-ray, right? I just don't have a DVD with me. I found a Blu-ray movie here. Hopefully you can see it. The Dark Knight. I used to collect Blu-ray, so I grabbed this off the shelf. But when you're burning all these things, right? Social skills, social calibrations, emotional control game, all these things, she's going to remember it subconsciously. So if you get 20 out of 35, you don't even need to go on a date. You're going to get laid that very day. It's easier to pull her home, maneuver, sexualize, objections, looping. But you need points in the right area to get that date. Since my students, when they level up, they don't get flakes or ghosting. You're like, whoa, that's impossible. How could they not get, hey, what's up? Does average guy or older guys have a chance with women in their 20s? That's a question right now with the tariff and inflation. No. So older guys, right? If they don't have my training, because they're not burning the right DVD, they'll be very depressed in their voice and they don't believe in themselves. They probably will not do very well. However, for my students, they'll do very, very well. So if you want, Mr. M, if you want like a 20-year-old, I can get you that easily. I can get you anything as long as you do your homework assignments. So, anyways, as I was saying, as you're burning a DVD, okay? So what happens when you text her after you talk with her for the interactions? You text her, so you'll be like grabbing your phone, and I have like one of these foldable phones. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah, my phone folds, right? So let's say you text her, right? Blah 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 blah. Text. Hey, whatever. Cool to meet you. Blah blah blah. Okay. So when you text her, what does she do with a DVD? She grabs a DVD out of her brain like this. Oh, and then look at your name. So if your name was let's just say your name was Mike, right? Mr. M, your name is not technically is like that, but let's just say your name was Mike. So she's gonna see the word Mike. So, oh, this is who we're talking to, Mike. Now she's gonna put the disc right into her brain. And it's gonna go right through it. And it's gonna start spinning, right? Like this. And then she's gonna read the disc. And then she'll remember everything about you when she was looking up and down at you in the beginning, right? Like that. Because she was surprised when you first approached her. She remembers the looks. She when she's looking down, right? At first, she's not looking at your face. So she's actually looking down at your shoes, right? To see if you have money. She's looking upwards to see if you got muscles. She's looking downwards at your accessories. She's looking back up at your ethnicity. She's looking back down at your height. She's looking lastly at your face. She's already scoring a lot of the points. So now she remembers. Oh, yeah, I remember Mike. So she gives a score like that. Does that make sense? But then she starts looking at your social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, and your game. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you keep making statements, she gets a short answer. Then you ask a question, short answer, statements, short answer. All the other dating coaches are doing that. The reason why they're doing that is because they don't have social skills and because of autism. That's why they can't do multiple steps. You see, Mr. M over here have done enough drills where he can do it, kind of. Not perfectly, but if you do it for 21 days, the social skills flow drill, you'll automatically be able to raise it to 2.5 points. But let's just say they keep making statements or self-amusing in between. Then you add a DHV story, self-amusement again, another question, self-amusement, question. Then she says she has a boyfriend. Don't you get it? The entire thing was you already defeated yourself because she sees that in your DVD. It's burned there. Zombie cannot do multiple steps. This guy's making statements and he is not using a social skills flow drill. His brain does not work that well for social skills. So now she's going to think pickup artist, PUA alert. So that already, when she's playing back the disc, she's already saying, well, should I text him? Now she's looking at the next score, which is body language. If you square off, right, like a pickup artist, hey, I'm squaring off. It's very intimidating. If you were like 300 pounds and 6'5", right, and you're squaring off to her, she's going to get scared with cortisol. You created a numbers game. You created an unnecessary numbers game, and now she'll remember that. You will not get high score. Maybe you're confident, so she gives you 1 point. You get it? You got 0 for the social skills. Now you got 1 point for the burn into this one, for the body language or the social calibrations, the nonverbal communications. Because when you look at it, in terms of your communication, 55% is your nonverbal communications, 33% is your tonality, and 7% is the words. Hey, what's up? So, doesn't your playbook teach you DHV and also those other tactics? Yes, it does. But at the same time, the playbook was more like a Bible. Hey, are you that guy on YouTube? No, you're somebody else. It's more like a Bible sort of thing, like Old Testament. So it's there because I want the students to get the foundation. We don't want to just change the Bible of game. Does that make sense? So yes, this is a zombie game. And yes, a Latino person, I posted him. He became a father and he also got laid on the side with another woman, even though he's married and he became a father. However, he masked approach using the elite playbook, which I gave him after I removed him from my program, and he still got laid, but he had a huge volume. So while I do teach that stuff before, I don't want to just get rid of it. So that's why elite access is very important to update the arrow science, maneuver, sexualized objections looping. It is in the playbook. It is in the commentary section. Every video has a commentary. I do talk about it later on. I hope that makes sense. But when she's burning the DV, I hope that answers your question. It's like a Bible sort of like, Old Testament. I don't want to mess around with the formula. I've already made like over 40 updates before the finalized version of the playbook. So we might as well not change it because there might be some foundations that people can look at and say, this was the past before the pandemic and inflation. And here are all the updates on the elite access. This is the foundation. And also, you got to think Elite 30 from Hard Case to Hero is dealing with the body language. So what I'm trying to say is that 55% is your nonverbal communication. In the past, before the inflation, right? Before people's voices were affected because of the inflation, people felt very depressed. So their voices sound like they're very lethargic and they sound very depressed when they're talking with her. Like, does that make sense? They sound very, very lethargic, like they're breathing out the poverty side. So if 55% is nonverbal communication, that was what got the students like no flakes. Number 2 is the 33% or 38%. I'm sorry. 38% is tonality. You see that during the inflation of 2023, 2024, and 2025, their tonality has been affected. So when they burn down to a DVD for the next category, and she's looking at it, right? She's running the DVD. Now it's like, wait a minute. This guy does not have a lot of money. He has less than $2,000 in his bank account or less than 1,000. She can tell because the way you speak, you start to sound very depressed, kind of like this. Whenever you're affected by the inflation, it will show up and she'll hear it. So therefore, all the pickup artists all got flakes. Unless you're 6'2" and you're super good looking, you might have to spend the entire summer mass approaching. You might get laid. But for most people that are below 5'9", the national average, they're all going to get flaked on. So what's the last thing? 7% is the words. She doesn't remember the words. She only remembers the body language, and she's only remembering the tonality for the emotions. So there's a lot of people that don't have emotions and you crash out. Lots of people that gets triggered these days with alexithymia. I'm not diagnosing people because I'm describing people. It's just like all those YouTube videos talking about sociopathy or psychopathy does not mean that they're diagnosing people. They're describing the patterns and traits. So these days, I don't have much psychopaths. The engineers that are Asian students who have no emotions whatsoever and they don't care. They have no fear. They don't care. I get less of those because now the AI is taking away their jobs and affecting the money. So they already quit. I only get the far left crashing out types, the ones who are very emotional. And the more they get triggered and the more lazier they get, eventually that's going to compound into like a meltdown. They're going to have a leftist meltdown. So the thing is that it shows up into your DVD. And now your game tactics, the more zombie you're like using mystery method game tactics, 7% words, routines, THV stories, all this other stuff, making statements and giving direct compliments and talking super fast. You're actually burning that you're in the out tribe to her. So when she's actually booting up your DVD in her brain, she's actually saying to herself, wait a minute, I'm not going to text this guy back. That's what she's thinking. So she's like, nope. And then she just looks at her phone and then she goes and forgets about you. So this is the essence of communication. In the past, during the pandemic, they don't even need to actually do any sort of they don't actually need any sort of emotional tonality and elite tonality mastery, not part of elite bundle resurrections. In the past, they could just use body language and they never get flaked on. Game will get you flakes. These guys are converting less than like 1% or maybe 5% of their leads. It's a huge numbers game. And some people are making 10,000 approaches and getting burnt out. It's going to be like hell if your tonality is wrong and you're really affected and the money can affect you. So it's better to make sure you got more than $1,000 in your bank account or 2,000. Because if you don't have more than $2,000, you're going to be in the survival mode. And when we look at the Maslow chart of human needs, food, water, shelter, sex, procreation, the toilet, temperature control, if that gets affected, you might say, well, I do have all those things. But if those things are affected, because the second category, higher up, it is the stability of income or something like that. If you don't have a stable income, you're going to be affected. So it's really important that you get this right. Mr. M, I remember that you went through elite tonality mastery. You had to go through every video 6 times. And once you got laid, you just stopped doing it, right? You procrastinated. You became ADHD. You never finished it. That's too bad. You finished the main one right now, but you still have one more video in the inner circle, Mr. M. But you see that? This whole DVD concept explains everything. How can you not get flaked on and play a numbers game? She's only going to reply if her SMV is lower than yours. So it's kind of like Pokemon Go or something. You know, you have the higher stats for your Pokemon, and she has a much lower stats, then she might reply. That's when you're competing against all the other guys on Tinder. You used to get a lot of psychopaths. Oh, I used to get tons of like Chinese psychopaths all the fucking time. Now I'm getting nothing but like a lot of Indians and Latino kind of sociopathic people. I don't want to generalize that all Latinos are sociopaths. I want to say that pickup artists is only a small percentage of the population do have sociopathic traits. I'm getting more of those kinds that are crashing out. And when I get Chinese students, they're more like far left crashing out types. I hope that makes sense. In the past, I used to get a lot of a lot of psychopaths. They're more like psychopath ADHD, narcissistic a little bit, not that much. They're not delusional, but they just don't have any empathy. And they're like machines. You can yell at them, they don't get triggered like the far left types. Remember, I'm not generalizing entire ethnicity. I'm only talking about a few pickup artists. There's less these days. But the far left, how do you know if you're far left? I can almost guarantee you for the last election in the United States, all of the far left people all voted for Kamala Harris. That's something you cannot change. And if you're Canadian, you would have voted for Kamala Harris. Whether you're Indian or you're Latino, you would have voted for Kamala Harris. If you crash out or you get triggered because they're very irrational and they're just like modern women, right? They're woke, they're narcissistic, they're irrational, they're delusional, always meltdowns. We call it lefty meltdowns on the news and stuff. So let's see here. Life. You talk more like talk to John, like you understand his teachings, right? I did finish his program. Yeah, Mr. M got like many lays, girlfriends, like two girlfriends at the same time, two fuck buddies at the same time, and he also got like, many lays at the same time. Now he has like two fuck buddies, but the thing is that yeah, he's got a lay and a fuck buddy, but he has two fuck buddies. One, but you get the point. You get the point. So that's burning a DVD. And also, yeah, if she takes out a DVD of the interaction and you have low SMV, for example, let's just say that's even worse, like Indian or Asian, right? And you play it again, right? Oh, play the DVD. Oh, Indian, 2 out of 10. Asians, 1 out of 10, or minus, or whatever. It's like 0 if you're Asian washed, right? Wuhan washed. Then she decides to reply or not. Even if you had like decent game and you try to be confident, but your SMV is too low, you dress too Asian wash or Indian wash. She plays the DVD. Nope, I'm not playing anymore. Takes it over her mind, throws it back on the shelf, never contacts you again. And then you say, oh no, she's in it for the validation. Oh, why am I getting flakes? It's almost because every interaction with my students, when they get the body language right, they don't get flakes. Of course, there are some people, some dating coaches who are black or they're white and they disagree with me. They say, well, I tell my students what to text. But my counter reply is that, hey, your students are all white or they're all black, they're all high SMV tall people, right? And it's like, yes. Of course they can play text game because they have more value. They can at least try to text and maneuver. They have something to work with out of the 20 out of 35. They may not get as many points as my students when they're skill maxing because they're samurais. The samurais will swing the big game sword, right? But this time during 2025, it doesn't work. And you have to spend at least 3 months or something in a row just to get laid with a woman that's below your looks level. So it is a lot of work. Swing the samurai sword, swing, swing, swing. And it's just like, oh, I'm going to do 10,000 swings. And you get rejected every single time. Boy, swing, swing, swing. But my ninja students, they have to level up every single piece of the skills. Every single piece. It's like ninjas have to learn 30 different weapons. They have to learn how to make smoke bombs and how to escape. They have to learn potions. They have to learn all these disciplines to be able to operate without a game sword. So these guys who have a big game sword, of course, maybe for them, they can kind of SMV it and try to text her, and they might get something after 3 months. But in most cases, they're not going to get any results. They're not going to get any results. So it's me and Marco went out and game together. Do we both wear the same? You'll both be wearing exact. Marco only wears one uniform when he's out there. All my students only wear one uniform. It's like an army uniform, a ninja uniform. Yeah, let's call it ninja uniform. It's a social stealth that makes you fit in with a whitewashed tribe. You want to take their women's SMV and use it. You want to take the white man's SMV and use it against their white women. Don't you get it? Augment your foe's strength so you can use it against them. It's like judo or something. Give a thumbs up for that. So that way, if you already are whitewashed, you increase your looks for the hairstyle. You increase your money for the way you dress. And you also increase your whitewash fashion. Then automatically, when she burns the DVD looking up and down, she's already thinking, well, the point's already up there. So she's going to keep, reading the DVD over and over in her mind. She's like, okay, let's give this guy a chance. She's going to look at your text message rather than dismiss it. Because when she looks at, oh, low value, I don't like this movie, gone. Make sense? And then she's not going to reply. So that's the thing. It's a cheat code because the ninja uniform that Mr. M uses already boosts so many points. When you do the drills and rehearsals like a ninja, practicing, let's say you practice darts over and over, right? And it's not because you do more of it. It's more like you get corrected with the instructor, me. But you keep throwing the darts until you can hit the target over and over. When you go out there in the field as a ninja, let's just say back in Japan, you're able to throw the darts and use it because you rehearsed it. Don't you get it? Deliberate practice means that in the field you can adapt. It's kind of like mixed martial arts, for example. If you go out there in the field and you try to SMV it with a huge numbers game, it's almost like you never train a single drill in your life. And all you do out there is just you mass practice, but you don't practice at all. You just go out there, you walk into the cage, and you get your head kicked in, and it happens every single time. 10,000 approaches, 10,000 losses. You should have spent the time in the gym we're rehearsing the drills until they're second nature. It takes 21 days to develop a new habit. So this thing is that even for Mr. M, it takes a long time because he was always procrastinating, always having 3 days in between all the drills, always 3 days, right? You don't actually get the skills. But one day, Mr. M decided to spend every single day writing down elite tonality mastery to learn all the skills. And he wrote down 6 times for every video. He finished everything and he got laid. He got laid right away, 2025. So it's because it's like a Death Star. You need to have all the beams aligned together. So will she be freaked out about all the guys are wearing the same? Most of the time when you go out there, you will not, she won't even remember you after 20 minutes. If your interaction is like, it went very well, but it's not like standing out in the terms of being creepy or anything like that, she won't remember you at all. So every time you go out with the same uniform, nobody knows. All right, let's continue. So I'm going to share with you 3 secrets about why when you're talking with a woman, right? And you score out 35 points. She's constantly burning the DVD to score your value and your skills. Looks out of 10, money out of 5, status out of 10, social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, and game. 2.5 points each. You get 20 out of 35, you automatically get laid. But you need points in the right areas to get a date. Since my students leveled up, they don't get flaked on or ghosting, right, Mr. M? I mean, what flakes? They always reply. And how you can do exactly what they're doing, so you'll know exactly why you're getting flaked on. And I know what you're probably thinking. Hey, John, if I just double down on the mystery method and RSD method, right? Wouldn't you eventually get laid with 10,000 approaches, right? Wouldn't you? But again, I'm going to show you a great way you can skill max instead of mass approaching and get amazing results. So the very first secret, we're finally here, is that to burn a DVD for your interactions is not about more game. As people aren't getting laid for Daygame and other Daygame coaches don't have Daygame laid testimonials this year. So one of my students is going to propose, an Indian guy who got laid this year and he got a white girlfriend. He's going to propose. So he's planning on it. He found his life partner this year. Isn't that amazing? You think Indian guys would get a white girlfriend during this inflation? That's not my student. Probably not. So, and then some other Asian guy, like a Chinese guy, he has a stripper girlfriend. She's half black and half Latina. I just found out. I thought she was black, but no, she's half Latina, and she's really, really pretty. She looks better than most of the black celebrities, singers like Megan Thee Stallion or whatever, and all those other ones that she looks better than all of them. She's 21 years old. So his girlfriend, to answer Mr. M's question right now, is 21 years old. Or I think she's 20. I can't remember. She might be 20. So, or 21. I think she's 21. So the big idea here is that 20 out of 35 is a subconscious scoring system that calculates by the seconds. So when she's burning the DVDs, actually every second, when she's looking at you, you do the opener, right? Whether you do direct or you do a hybrid opener like my students, she's always constantly burning. So as long as she's in an interaction and she's looking, she's burning the DVD every single second. Get it? So you keep talking for 3 minutes, she's burning for 3 minutes, like this. I know that seems kind of strange, but it's not like a fixed score. Some people would think, well, oh, maybe it's my looks, maybe it's something else, right? Maybe I don't have enough clout. No, it's not a fixed score. Like in the beginning, you walk in there, it's like, oh, here's your fixed score. It's not like that. You can hunch in the middle of an Insta date and lose her. Or maybe you don't actually find out more things about her because you're not curious. It just keeps going, burning, burning, zip, 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 zip. Laser, 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 laser. It just keeps burning. So you might last 6 minutes in the interaction. It's just going to keep doing this. And then everything, she's going to look at the score. In the beginning, when she's looking at her laser up and down like this, it's like she looks up and down. She looks down your shoes. Okay, this guy's poor college student. Looks upwards at the accessories. Okay, has a shitty watch. Back down. He's wearing jeans, right? Back up. Oh, he's quite big. He's 5'11". Look back down. Does that make sense? She does that up and down. And then she looks at accessories. She looks up at the ethnicity, right? Oh, he's a tall Latino guy. And then finally look at the face. So for the people that are black pill and think, oh, it's all the face. No, it's the last thing she looks at when she's burning the DVD in the beginning. In the beginning, it's like this. Really quickly. Before it starts burning like this. Make sense? So you want to make sure that when you're burning the DVD, when she's looking up and down in the beginning, that's why you want to get the ninja uniform corrected. And you want to also make sure your body language is corrected. If you start hunching and you start talking fast in the middle of the approaches, as soon as she quickly burns everything, she's gonna be like, ding, 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 and slowly burning it. You're gonna lower your points just by doing this, right? You'll lower your points, and you don't want to do that. So, I mean, as we go out together as a group, right? We all have the same haircut and clothes. Well, the things a lot of my students, they don't have wingmen. It's a waste of time. Does that make sense? You want to do it solo because if you're doing it with a wingman for emotional support, it's harder to do a same day lay. You're both just going to be there. You should do that as you're practicing reps, kind of like sparring. But it should not be serious to get that lay because those guys are collecting phone numbers. With your wingman. So with your wingman, right? Most likely your wingman will not wear the same outfit. If you're going out there with Marco, right? It's very unlikely. So if you want to day game with my students, it's very unlikely. They're going to be wearing the outfit no matter what. And they're going to be doing a same day lay and you'll be in their way anyways. So they're going to be doing the arrow science, maneuver, sexualized objections, looping. All right, let's see. I mean, okay, have you heard this before? Game is not about women, it's about you. Um, is this who I think it is? Because last time I tried to contact you, you didn't reply to me and then you attacked me. If I remove you, please do not attack me on Reddit. You have a cease and desist letter. All right, let's continue. So, what if she forced? Like, okay, what if she doesn't look up and down for eye contact? Sometimes that could happen. She already dismissed you that you're not important enough. Because sometimes if you have no facial expressions and stuff, and she doesn't look up and down at you, right? She doesn't even care. She's already like rolling her eyes, like, oh, DVD burning? Nope, no DVDs. Sorry, not interested. Bye. Get lost. I have a boyfriend. Get lost. Get it? It's not even worth looking. Is when she's scanning, right? Then she knows if there's some kind of value. And it's really important that your facial expressions are congruent to what you want to accomplish. If you're not congruent and you're very nervous, you're hunching, when she's looking up and down, she's going to walk away. She's going to say, okay, what's the value? Oh, walk away. Get rid of the DVD. Let's go. Sorry, I'm busy. So the whole thing is there's no numbers game. She's born like this. She'll always look at value. No matter what, it's built into her nervous system. So even if you go to the mall and you dress whitewashed, and let's say, for example, she's a teenager. She's never been approached before. She never had a date, ever. But she'll still look at you. For some reason, they don't know why. Because when she gets older, right, she'll obviously start to look at value. Women thinks nothing but value, nonstop. She's always thinking of the 20 out of 35. That's number one. That's female nature. 20 out of 35 is always being burnt. Number two is always emotional reasoning. That's why your tonality is very important. In the past, it did not matter before the inflation because people were not affected. They don't sound like depressed and lethargic, and they don't sound like they're going to break into tears because of the inflation. Does that make sense? Because of that, the tonality is very different. And number three is going to be logical reasoning. She's rarely logical. The only time that she's ever logical is when she's giving you an objection in the bedroom, or maybe she's giving you an objection. Then she thinks logically for 2 seconds and she goes back into emotional reasoning. And constantly, every single second you're with her, it's always relative SMV. That's why a lot of pickup artists they get women that are below their looks level, every single time. So, what skill max remind you of? When you say skill max, it reminds me of Black Pill language, looks max, fashion max. First of all, how does Black Pill talk about skill max? Black Pill doesn't have any skills. They only believe it's all looks. So when you call it, it's called skill maxing. Looks, money, status is like Black Pill kind of thing. But then natural pill for naturals, because you're getting the skills, is social skills, social calibrations, emotional control and game. Black Pill does not believe in social skills. Body language, because they have bad body language. They're very upset and very angry. They have bad emotions and they also have no game. They're game deniers. So therefore, that is a false accusation. This is just your mental projection of your mental filter onto me. All right. So if you have like the outfit, will she never walk away? It's very rare that she'll ever walk away. But you have to make sure you talk slower because if you're talking fast and you're burning the DVD, right? And she's burning it, and you're like, "Oh, excuse me, real quick. I have a question. I was looking for a place called Zara. Do you know where I can find it? Oh, by the way, I didn't know something about you." You talk like that. You're full of cortisol. And she will walk away. But if you talk slower and she burns it nice and slow, right, and very even, excuse me, real quick. I have a question. And of course, you might say, "Well, it didn't work for me," but it requires a little bit of training. We have to listen to your audio, your DVD, right? That's why Elite Access is there, so people can get my feedback for 10 minutes a day. Now I can do it for 15 minutes because, might as well give them a little bit more time. But they listen to the DVD, right? And you talk super fast. Oh, sometimes you can actually break a DVD when you're burning it. If you burn it too fast, quick burn or something, you can actually burn it out and lose the disc. So talking too fast is not a good idea for this metaphor. So what exactly is 20 out of 35? Okay, that's a good question. So you're always burning 20 out of 35. But it's funny that you know my elite playbook, but you don't know my concepts. I hope you didn't pirate my course. You won't learn anything because you only see it from your own mental filter without elite access and all these things. I made it like that on purpose. It's like the Bible, as I told you, the Old Testament for elite playbook. But at the same time, there's a lot of depth. You need Bible study to extract the information. You can't use it. I designed it like that on purpose. Anyways, let's continue. Like I'll make sure that they'll never understand it if they never train with me. So that way they get screwed. I designed it as a fail-safe. All right. So 20 out of 35. Looks is out of 10. Okay, Mr. L. Your score, depending on your height, your looks, everything, right, is out of 10. That's why Asians love to muscle max, right? Because they think this is the fastest way to raise the looks, right? Money's out of 5 by the way you dress and stuff. Okay. And also your race is out of 10. So there's a hierarchy. And this is how the hierarchy works, Mr. L. For example, the top is white. White people, white is right. But now even 63% of white people are failing and they're single. 63%. Let me just fix the chair. Moving forward a little bit. All right. So 63% of white people or everyone is single. So what's happening is that white is still number one. Number two is tall Black people that are confident and muscular. The confident, like positive stereotype Black people that are pre-selected by white women are usually number two. It doesn't mean like a very negative stereotype Black guy with an afro, right, with sideburns and stuff like that, and dressing in baggy clothing. He's not 8 out of 10. He's probably somewhere like fucking 2 or 3. But the guy who's very confident, he dressed whitewashed, he talks like a white man, and he's big and has protector status above 5'9" to 6'4", big guy, he's going to have 8 out of 10. Latinos used to be 7 out of 10, so is Middle Easterns. But you say Middle Eastern, they have bad reputation. The conquering tribe in Europe, and I don't mean to generalize everyone, but I'm just talking about those few. The conquering tribe are usually considered higher SMV because women would submit to the conquering tribe as evolutionary psychology. Latinos were 7 out of 10, but now when Donald Trump's first term happened, the ICE raids happened. The current events has damaged the reputation of Latinos. So it becomes 6 out of 10, but 1 point difference, they can still get laid. When Donald Trump came back in 2024 and 2025, Latinos SMV is 5 out of 10. Now Latinos need to make up for, I'm not talking about the whole general population. I'm talking about the pickup artists. Latinos needs to have more skills to compensate. But because a lot of the pickup artists are broke, they barely have $1,000 to the name universally for all of them. They might have less than 2,000. All pickup artists for Latinos, less than 2,000, every single one for them. Does that make sense? So their emotions when they're burning the DVD, right? The emotions when they sound very depressed and lethargic and sighing when they're talking, but they can't hear it, then that's going to lower their score. So they can't make up the difference. The game tactics that they're learning from mystery method or RSD or tall self-proclaimed high lay count coaches, it's just not enough points to make it up. They don't have the body language. They're very depressed. Does that make sense? And they don't have the social skills. They can't do 3 steps. Now they struggle. Mr. M over here there is Latino, but he still got laid many times. So he's doing my way, the 20 out of 35. Does that make sense? So what's number 4, Mr. L? So if Latinos are 5, right? What's number 4? You have whitewash Indians. They have like a white accent. They don't dress Indian wash. They dress like a white guy. They wear blazers, everything like that. They wear the same fashion as my students. You can't even tell they're Indian. So they're 4 out of 10. 3 out of 10 is like short blacks. The short black man does not have the tall protector status and the pre-selected positive stereotype. They usually are into chubby white women, stereotypically. I don't want to generalize everyone, but they usually have this sort of stereotype. But they're only 3 out of 10. And when you're like a 2 out of 10, it's like a negative stereotype Indian. We're talking about bad accents, double chins. We're talking about like, pink dress work shirts, tapered dark blue jeans, dark sneakers, body odor. No offense, as I don't want to generalize everyone, but I'm just saying, for those who are pickup artists, bad body odor, completely lack of social skills, and then the Asians are 1 out of 10, even if you're whitewashed with, whitewash hairstyle, it doesn't matter. You're still 1 out of 10 because Asians are the lowest SMV in terms of online dating and everywhere else around the world. That's why they like to be passport bros. They go to other countries to status max. They can add points for their high status lifestyle compared to the Colombians and other people. They can raise 1 point there for job, lifestyle too in their Instagram. They can raise their points for traveling, third world money status advantage. Mr. L, I hope this is making sense. And they can also raise 1 more point for what's it called? Oh yeah, exotic advantage. That means if everyone is one race, let's say they're in Eastern Europe, right? And they're Asian, right? But they're all white, or they're in a Latin country, they're all Latinas and they're one Asian. The Asian is going to have 1 extra point of exotic advantage. So in a way that when you look at it, that's why Asians love to be passport bros. But they only have 1 out of 10 for the United States. But my students can still get laid just fine because they're skill maxing. So the next question is that if there's a hierarchy, if you're Asian wash, you're 0 out of 10. If you're really, really fobby, like we're talking about fresh off boat, like Chinese. I'm Chinese, but if you're fresh off boat looking Chinese, 0 out of 10. Like Wuhan washed. Does that make sense? And then you're talking about social skills. It's like having this flow drill, this triangular flow drill that repeats, that gets her talking more. If you make statements all day, then your score will not be very high. Or you ask questions, statements, her short answer, questions, her short answer, statements, her short answer. And then you're burning a bad DVD, Mr. L. Your body language is 45 degrees diagonal, so you don't put pressure on her. If you're 45 degrees, I cannot show you here. The seat's really hard to do that. But you don't put pressure on her. You still raise the attraction level, and it still has a little bit of seduction the longer she speaks to you. But it's very hard holding that facial expression and holding that body language. It's usually the psychopathic Chinese students that can stand in the same position for 3 hours. I know it seems really, really unfair, but they can do it for 3 hours in a row. They don't have any feelings. But the sociopathic Chinese, they're going to crash out and be lazy. The other guys, they can take a punch. They don't care how much discipline. So usually when someone complains that John's being too tough as a coach, he's like, Dan Pena. There's usually the far left types, the ones who crash out, the trigger types, the delusional types, you know? Hope that. And then when you talk about emotional control for 2.5 points, this category, when you're burning it in her brain, this is the only category that can be minus 2.5 points or plus 2.5 points. Does that make sense? Minus 2.5 or plus 2.5. The only category that can go under, that can leach points away. So even if you were looks maxing, you know, you can leach away those points, those extra points. Even if you're trying to improve your game, is going to leach away those points. This is why it almost seems hopeless if you're not 6'2" and mass approaching a numbers game during this inflation and now the tariff, because people are scared, because people think, well, if there's going to be a tariff, then possibly it's going to crash the economy. So you might as well tighten your belt and not spend any money for Johnny Elite's coaching. We got to save the money. We got to save the money. So that's the mentality. So you got to be careful. And lastly, the thing is called game category. Who has the best game, it does not matter, because if we're looking at 2.5 points, in the past, before the pandemic, we call this the fail-safe system. We'll talk more about the fail-safe system. If you're 5'9", let me look at the questions. So you sound like a horrible coach. Well, actually, why don't you actually look at the truth here? Because if I'm a horrible coach, I also posted over here a counter reply over here. Okay, let's read it. So over here, we have screenshots of that person who's posting on it. And let's look at it. Okay, on Reddit. So this is receipts clearing my name. So how to read the collage? Top left, right? Fatherhood and quit timing. So a Chinese student, he became a father, and within 2 weeks, this guy rage quit. And he was given the news the other student became a father. So in the chat, he admits your system can work very well. That's what he says. When he says I'm a horrible coach and my system rarely works, in the screenshot over here, he actually says that my system works very well. So let's look at the screenshot. Hey, John, congrats on your students becoming a father. Your system can obviously work well. I'm sorry, but I can't work with you. I know you might think I'm being a quitter. So that's the first thing to answer your question, Mr. P. The second thing is that he says checking in every day or else I'm banned, not being told to study the course material, and singing and breathing for a week and other reasons. What does that mean? It means that he never actually done any of his homework assignments for Elite Access. He calls it singing lessons. And also, and it says that he has not been told not to study the material. It means that I did not let him study my courses, so he cannot give a review. Does that make sense, Mr. P? So I'm actually a great coach. He calls me a great coach. So what do you mean by that? Your system can obviously work very well. He was lying because he was butthurt. Number two, he attacked me because of supplements. But turns out over here on the screenshots, he actually made a movie called Meatless Barbecue. The main reason why he did that was very simple. Meatless barbecue means that for the collage, it basically means that it wasn't because he hated the supplement idea and it's dangerous. The big lie was that he's actually a vegetarian, as he told me, that he does not want to take supplements. He can get everything from food. He says he's worried about the side effects. So he's never taken a supplement before. but he lied about it. Does that make sense? It's in the screenshot. Look in the community section. I think you are making excuses, or I think that you are him, or else no, it's not making excuses. He has a movie right here. Meatless Barbecue. And this is on 2018. Number 3, he extorted me. He made me pay $400. You know, he says, "Oh, he don't give refund policies." No, I don't get refund policies, but this is a goodwill payment. This is not a refund. I don't give refunds. And then he signed a non-disclosure agreement. And he still made a Reddit review. He says this. Part of this agreement, John Lee would take down the video called "Unteachable Latino Students Threaten My Business Over Refund." That's why he failed. Number 2, his name will receive $400 donation at the MAP or whatever fund. Number 3, all access to elite courses material will be revoked permanently, so he never saw my courses, and he will not be eligible for any future coaching. Number 4, both party agrees not to discuss and mention each other in any public or private forums moving forward, which he did. Number 5, this resolution is final. No further donations, refunds, or discussions will be entertained. So this guy broke the NDA. So you're defending a person because you're far left. So I read your post, but no matter what he says, right? You explain your way. Your Google payment extortion is because he says if you don't pay me something back, right? He's gonna try to like attack my payment processors. So he's technically extorting me. And the next one is that he says he cannot hear his mistakes. He says he's not depressed. I said you cannot hear your monotoned. It's like it's almost like nothing in common with each other. I'm trying to save for his homework assignments. And then he said, I was trying to mimic Joe Rogan, right? He's trying to mimic the tonality. And then I said, so you think you're mimicking him? That's what I said. And he says, I guess not. It's like, and I said, do you think it sounds kind of similar? Why don't you listen to your audio again? If you cannot hear the mistakes, then I know that you're the one of the delusional ones. So he cannot hear his mistakes. But if you look at the very last thing on the screenshot, it actually says this. Can you help a hard case? So he admits he's an unteachable case. He's not coachable. He also says that I've been trying to game for years and feel depressed. He says this right here, and little to no results. I've been trying to game for years and feel depressed about little to no results. So he claimed that, when he contacted me, he was depressed, but he said he's not depressed. And I'm making it up that he's depressed, but he says he's depressed and he cannot hear his own mistakes. I've gone out, made a ton of approaches, collected many phone numbers, and then get ghosted, ignored. Exactly this topic. I'm willing to be coachable. He knows he's an unteachable case. I'm tired of getting no results in dating. And then the last screenshot says like his stats in his chart: 12 drills, 17 approaches, and he rage quits. Only 12 drills and 17 approaches in 14 days. If that's the case, that he lied about it, he actually was the one who quit. And then he attacked me because he doesn't want to do the drills. He never even done the mindset playlist. He's talking about, oh no, the mindset playlist. John makes us call ourselves out, right? Calling ourselves names. He's never done it. So everything he says, he's debunked. He's debunked. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Believe whatever you want. So you want to crash out and be far left, be my guest. But that's my counter reply. It's in the screenshot. So he's lying through his teeth. So no, I mean, first of all, I don't usually have this kind of people that are so unreasonable. So now that I have explained to you what's on the screenshot, now you're saying let's let it go. You were attacking me a minute ago because of this. And now because you read what happened, you realize that he was wrong. He was the aggressor. And then now you're saying, why can't you let it go? Because now you shift the conversation. I tried to be nice. Now I cleared my name. So instead, what the other person says on Reddit, stay far, far away. You should actually be turned on instead of turn off and run towards my coaching because I was never the aggressor. It's just, why can't I let it go? This was not a very fair false accusation. And now you guys are finally seeing the screenshot, the counter argument, because it was so unfair. It was 99% inaccurate and trying to hurt my business, trying to turn off the money valve to my business. But I have an Indian student right now this year who's going to propose to his girlfriend who's white. He's trying to take away the people's opportunity when he rage quit because another Chinese student who also got married and procreated. Why take away these guys' opportunities? This is not a good person. So when you say that I'm the one who's wrong, I didn't let it go. Well, think about it this way. This guy is willing to sabotage my business because he cannot hear his mistakes. He never actually seen the courses. He actually has a movie called Meatless Barbecue. I'm a carnivore. I only eat steak. I don't actually eat vegetables. Well, if I made a movie called Carnivore Barbecue, I'm such a devout carnivore. I don't eat meat. I only eat junk food and I only eat like meat, nothing else. But to be someone like that because he never tried supplements and attack me for it, making up some excuse. That's what I'm saying. It's ridiculous. Why should I be attacked for that? I'm not here to shift goalposts. You are shifting goalposts. Every business has one bad review. Yeah, usually I don't have bad reviews. If somebody quits, usually they take responsibility. Here's a person that cannot take responsibility, has to win at all costs and destroy my business no matter what. There's always one person that's like that. Yeah, that's true. But this person is so dangerous and so angry that is completely misguided. And now that you guys realize that I'm not the aggressor, sometimes you just cannot let it go because it's a signal to other people that if you let something like this go, then other people are going to do the same thing, but they don't. Nobody complains. I never had a refund in my life, ever in my coaching, ever. So I don't understand why he wants that. It's like he should have just follow instructions, not quit in 14 days. And 12 drills is not enough. My other student has 3 days now in 3MP. He's only done 14 approaches, but he has 120 drills, close to 130 now, just to get 3 dates. So the more drills you do, the less approaches you need to make. I hope that answers your question, but thank you for asking it, Mr. T or Mr. P. Okay. Anyways, let's put this behind us. All right, let's continue. So the big idea here is that he has to be 20 out of 35, right, Mr. T? I hope that makes sense, right? So, or Mr. L, right? Looks like social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, and game. They're 2.5 points each. 20 out of 35. So this is a subconscious scoring system that calculates by the seconds. How many of you here are also turned off by that Reddit review? Just let me know. Or nobody's outside of Mr. P, right? If nobody else is turned off, and then you guys know the truth now, maybe I should make this as a video on the main channel as a trailer, a 5-minute video, right? And people can see the truth for themselves, so they cannot switch the goalpost. Yeah, we should do that because it's my word versus his. Now we see his screenshots. It's not my word versus his. It's more like everything was false. This was a hit piece. And this was very unfair to crucify. It's like, you cannot be like Judas crucifying Jesus for 10 silver coins or $400 USD. It's just not fair. I've always been a good person. Everybody knows that. So I've done a lot of good in the world. A lot of people procreated because of me. So, all right, anyways, John, if you had to choose right now, 10 looks with high cortisol or 5 out of 10 looks with no cortisol. The guy with high cortisol will not get laid. 0. There are people I know, like lots of students I have, do look like male models. I'm not joking. They do come to me from Europe and other countries. They look like dating coaches. They don't get laid. They usually quit. Or they cannot even handle my coaching for more than a week and they disagree with something. They have a lot of cortisol. The taller the student is, the more value they have, the faster they're going to quit. It's going to hurt more. So usually the ones who are complaining on Reddit, 3 of the guys, they're actually very good looking. Not 2 of them are okay, but or they're tall or they're strong. They're usually about 5'11" or something. One guy's like 5'10" or something, or 5'9", 5.5", 5'10". The other guy's 5'11". The other guy's like 6'1", something like that. They're tall. Some of them are strong, some are not, but they have a lot of SMV. The taller guys who have more SMV, they're going to get rejected harder. You get it? They're like samurai. They got to swing the big game sword. They don't know how to adapt to be a ninja. That's why they rage quit and they blame it on me because my system is primarily ninja game. So every student's from Eastern Europe. They're very good looking. Yes, they're from Eastern Europe for a lot of guys. They look like dating coaches. I have one student that looks like Paul Jenka. But he got fucking demolished because he could not stop talking super fast due to the cortisol. All right, let's continue what I'm saying. The big idea here is that 20 out of 35 is a subconscious scoring system that calculates by seconds, not by each interaction. So if you hunch, for example, and you're burning the DVD, right? She'll get completely turned off because every second gets burned. Where's my DVD? I lost the DVD. Oh shit, I dropped it. I'll just use another DVD. I don't want to touch it. Okay. Oh, here's the actual DVD, a Batman digital copy. Right here. So when she's burning a DVD, get it? Do not hunch because at that time, what gets burned in the patterns, even if you're good looking or tall, is get burned in the beginning, right? She's still there, burning. But then when you start speaking fast and you're hunching, right, with cortisol, and you're very stressful in the face, it's gonna be burned. So you're gonna get flaked on. Let's see. You had a Pojenka like look-alike as a student for sure. For sure. They almost look identical. Once you get the fashion, everything is really, really good looking. But yeah, here's a DVD copy, right, of Batman. But yeah, when you burn a DVD, so she'll get turned off. So it's important because day gamers focus only on the game category. You get it? Game is only 2.5 points. Looks out of 10, money out of 5, status out of 10, social skill, social calibrations, emotional control game, 2.5 points each. So it's looks, money, status plus game. I get it? So when they're burning the DVD, this is why the women, when they text the women, they flake on them. Sure, they're interesting enough with the game tactics to get a reply. But when she looks at a DVD, right, and she puts it back in her brain, right? Right? And then starts playing in her brain. There's just not enough overall value because the tonality sounds depressed, but also their body language is squaring off and is not good because they're going direct. They're giving their intentions early, and they already filter out the better looking women that are above their looks level. And they're only playing a numbers game with women below their looks level. And most of them do not like them unless she's below their looks level. They're only getting a woman below their looks level. It's like a Pokemon Go game. Higher stats beats the lower stats as they're burning the DVD. In most cases, this is why most of them become duds when they start burning the DVD in her mind. It's that simple. So let's see here. As I'm saying, the minus 2.5 points on top of their game is because of depressed side. Because when you have a bad economy, a lot of the students, right? You know, a lot of students I have, they have less than $2,000 or $1,000 to their name. They can barely pay the rent. They don't have disposable income. The money is always tied into something. When you have less than $1,000 to your name or 2,000, you're going to lose your mind and you're going to have a minus 2.5 points burned into your DVD. So every single approach you do flakes now in 2025, because not only was there binflation from the Biden era for the last 4 years, there was also Donald Trump's tariff that just started literally right now, this month. People did not believe Donald Trump will actually install the tariff. They always think he'll chicken out. They call it taco. Trump will chicken out. Taco. Trump will chicken out. Trump will chicken out. But he did not chicken out. He actually installed the tariff. Countries are, Canada over here is paying 35%. People are going to lose their mind. So when they try to speak, they cannot speak properly. The only reason why they're approaching is because they have alexithymia. I'm not trying to diagnose people, but you get it? The DVD as it's burning. As they're burning, the DVD is already damaged. The disc is already damaged. The laser is damaging the disc because they're very depressed. There's a depressed side. It's game over. So no matter how hard they try, they're gonna fail. But even if they say, "Oh yeah, I knew some stuff before from Daygame, therefore whatever John's teaching us different is not going to work," that's exactly what works, because the old stuff is not useful. The game is only 2.5 points. Looks, money, stats plus game, not even close. I'm going to talk more about the fail-safe very soon at the very end, so stick around. But let's see here. What percentage of students are neurotypical? 0. None of my students are neurotypical. I don't have a single neurotypical student. Doesn't his reply say he wants? Doesn't his reply says? No. Doesn't the text say that he can't work with you because Colin? I actually never call him that. I have all the entire conversation with him. I read it before online on YouTube Live. That's why we had the contract to take down the video. But the video, we try to look for any time that the word was autistic or something like that. So Mr. L, right? Hopefully you didn't get turned off because of Reddit thread, but I never called him autistic or anything like that. And so we went over the entire thing for 3 hours. We went over every single text. There was not even one instance I call him autistic. The only thing I said is that some people that have alexithymia can be autistic, or I mean, might have some kind of like Asperger's or something like that. They might not have emotions, but I never said that was about him. I'm just telling that alexithymia means emotional blindness. I never called him any of those names. So if everything he said was a lie so far, we can always conclude that this is just another hit piece. I never called him that. I don't remember. It's not actually in the text. I read every single text from beginning to end. We have the whole conversation. Never once have I called him that. He's very sensitive, as he says on the text over there, that he's very thin-skinned because he's triggered, right? Does that make sense? It says so over here. If I'm wrong, then he's just making stuff up and getting triggered. Listen, listen. Um, okay, so he says, your system obviously can work well. I'm sorry, but cannot work with you. I know you might be a quitter, but you call me autistic, Asperger. I never call him that. Show me. I don't see it. It's not there in the text. I try to look for it. I cannot find it. Maybe someone with thicker skin can take it, but I can't. Or the bunch of time you negatively talk about your students. So he's very thin skinned, very triggered, very far left, and checking every day or I'm banned. So he's also very like unfocused and told not to study the course material. He never actually seen it. Singing and breathing for a week. He never showed up for homework assignments. That's what got Mr. M laid. And you're using his screenshots agreeing with you to prove me wrong, right? From the other students, like, and you asked her, yeah, but he's dismissing it. You got it? He's dismissive. He says stuff I never done, falsely accuses me. How am I the enemy? I can, like I said, I can repost the video, but we have an NDA not to post it. But I'll repost it because he broke the NDA. I'll repost every video and we can say where did I call him an autistic person or Asperger's, and it's not there. It's my word versus theirs. But so far, I've been right about everything. I've been right about everything so far. So who's lying? You cannot say John was lying all this time. It turns out for the month that you guys crucified me, turns out John was never lying. John was telling the truth. If everything I say was accurate and every time is lying, can we conclude that perhaps if I tell you, if there's 9 lies and this is number 10th lie, but where is it in the text? It's not there. Unless I call him on my phone, I don't remember. Not to my recollection. I don't remember that. I really don't remember that. So it's not actually in the text. We can go over all the text. It's not going to be there. But this will take forever. So yeah, you guys should not be turned off because of some false accusations. So do you know how you do adaptive openers, right? When you realize you don't have to play a day game numbers game. So neurotypical don't care about day. They're more blue pill, right? For neurotypicals, right? So they're not usually into a game. Most people cannot handle a game unless they're delusional and they're zombie-like and they can mass approach. Does that make sense? And it's kind of sociopathic. It's really hard for people to mass approach like that in the streets. They get very nervous because they're emotional. They might get triggered and they might start to feel like, oh, I feel so guilty about doing this. It takes a person without remorse or empathy to do something like this. This is the DNA of the pickup artist. To answer your question, did you discover adaptive openers or you realize how you know about adaptive openers? But the adaptive openers was because I don't want to say like neutral openers. You have a creative and artistic vibe. Are you an artist? So adaptive becomes X plus Y are you Z. Does that make sense? That's how I discovered it. So now you have a million different openers, but you mix it with a hybrid opener, asking for directions. Oh, by the way, I just noticed something about you. Switch a topic. And she's like, what? Adaptive openers, statements of empathy. Hey, I know this is very random to talk to you here. Calling out the elephant in the room if I was Latino. Hey, I was born here, so you say you're not migrant. And people don't talk to each other anymore, calling out the elephant in the room. These algorithms were changed because the other ones don't work. Usually on the weekends, right? The creative and artistic does not work. So adaptive openers makes it more natural. But at the same time, that no longer works. That's why the hybrid opener during the pandemic was first of all like indirect. Oh, by the way, adaptive opener, statements of empathy. I know that we should be social distancing because before there was no vaccines, right? But then I'm triple vax, I'm healthy. So when you say that, you disarm her fear. So we took the same algorithms and create a hybrid opener. So that's why it changed. I hope that answers your question. That system changes every single year. This year, Elite Tonality Mastery has changed. Give it a thumbs up. Good for the algorithms. So the second secret, right? Let's talk about it. Is that the emotions are, you know, they affect. Okay, so the secret is that the emotions, right? They can actually affect you and create a deficit. In the past, before the inflation of 2022, when it started, into 2025, where it's harder for most day gamers due to economic stress. The main thing to understand here is that it wasn't more game, which is 2.5 points, or trying to vibe your SMV with your confidence. It's like looks, money, status plus game, right? It's like a Pokemon Go game. It's not like that anymore. Okay. So, are you sure Krav Maga is a good? We'll talk about that. So, the main thing to understand here is that it wasn't more game, which is 2.5 points, or trying to vibe your SMV with your confidence. That didn't work anymore with the inflation. And now with tariffs, which is minus 2.5 points, meaning if your game was perfect, which I doubt, they can't same day lay. But the inflation has neutralized all their advantages. This means to get your foot in the door, right? You need elite tonality mastery. So you're saying, John, you need to fix your tonality without showing that there's cortisol, and just to get your foot in the door. That's right. My course teaches you how to hide economic stress from cortisol, winner and loser effect. The more you lose, the more depressed you sound, being double chinned and gaining weight for cortisol. And it signals bad genes to procreate with. So does that make sense? 55% of your communication is nonverbal. I'll answer your question soon. 38% is your tonality. So before it didn't matter because there was no inflation or it wasn't that bad. So they can just use the body language and get 55%. Now they have to work on that 38%. The words don't matter. That's why game tactics like mystery method does not work, because routines and stuff with monotone like mystery method is not enough to get you laid. Is not enough to get you laid. That's why you're stuck. I hope that makes sense. That's why people cannot get laid with the mystery method and mass approaching like RSD style, unless they play a huge, huge, huge numbers game. And you're 6'2", you're very, very good looking. Even if you're ethnic minority, you look like some kind of K-pop artist, then you might get laid. Luckily, you might get a couple Asians and then maybe one white girl. But you probably made so many approaches. Like just we're talking about like probably close to like 3,000 or 4,000 approaches. Then you might get something. But if you're shorter, then it's going to be harder, because I'm going to talk about the fail-safe system. Every single minus 5'9" and below. When you're 5'8", you have to do 200 extra approaches before the inflation. If you're 5'7", that's 2 inches below 5'9", the national average. You have to do 400 extra approaches just to get like a lower score, 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 direct. If you're 5'6", you have to do 600 more approaches. If you're 5'5", you have to do 800 more approaches. If you're 5'4", you have to do 1,000 extra approaches. But that doesn't work anymore. That was what you guys were talking about, thinking that you can just get a bunch of flaky phone numbers. The fail-safe, as they call it, is gone. There's no more fail-safe. No more fail-safe. That's gone. So let's answer the question, okay? So, John, are you sure Krav Maga is a good self-defense? I saw a video, trained fighter get destroyed. Okay, so here's the thing, though. Krav Maga is not a good system for MMA. But it's a really bad system for MMA. It's not an MMA system. A lot of groin kicks, a lot of punch to the throat, lots of poke to the eyes. This is actually built for the military. It's a good military system. It's used by many, many militaries around the world. Does that make sense? I remember writing a post in my other forum, okay, I wrote that for Krav Maga, who uses it? This is more of a specialized system. It's not for everyone. Okay. So I remember a person that tells me I'm wrong about Krav Maga. No, it's a real system. Is what you have to look at where Krav Maga started from. It started from a guy called Emil Littenfeld. Emil Littenfeld was born in Hungary, Budapest. So he's Czechoslovakian or something. I forgot what he was, but he's a Hungarian Jew. And what happened was that they're trying to establish the Israel in the 7-Day War. The army was called Palmach, the Palmach army. Okay, I'm not sure about my Jewish pronunciation, but it's called a Palmach. It's not some bullshit. So as soon as Israel was installed, afterwards the UN has signed all that stuff. Emil Littenfeld, who taught the army of Palmach, was now the chief instructor for Krav Maga. The IDF uses Krav Maga. To this very day, as they're, attacking Palestine, Lebanon, Iran, and all this stuff, the IDF, all their units, have used Krav Maga. They have many special forces units in the IDF army. So it's a good system that's easy to learn, but their version is more like weapon disarming, dealing with hostage rescue, sentry removal, how to retain your weapons, how to arrest people. Their Krav Maga, it's a little bit different than the civilian version, but it is also used by many different units around the world. No, it's not a good MMA system. It's absolute shit when it comes to MMA, but it is a very good military system because other people have used Krav Maga. For example, I have actually looked up all the people that have used it. So, according to this, it's used by many, many different units. So Israel, right? So it's used by Sariyet Makal. That's a special forces unit. Shayet 13. That's another like Navy SEAL unit. So these are the top units. These two are the top units and also the IDF. It's used in the United States too. So, for example, it is within the select units of the U.S. Army combative programs. Marine Corps learns many systems, right? Like SEALAT, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they also learn Krav Maga. Everyone learns it. Navy SEALs also incorporates it. They might have many systems together, but Krav Maga is a part of Navy SEALs. The United States Air Forces also uses it. United Kingdom, the Royal Marines Commando training programs, right, uses it for certain Royal Marines commando units. And also for the other nations, it's also used in France for the GIGN. In Poland, GROM, they uses it. In parts of South America, that's right, Latin countries, have also incorporated Krav Maga. The military national police. The Israeli border and military police uses it. The Royal Military Police of UK uses it. Some units train in Krav Maga. The naval provost units in the NATO uses it. Federal law enforcement protective agencies uses it. FBI. Part of the defensive tactics syllabus. Krav Maga is taught in the FBI, among many things. The United States Marshal Services uses it. DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, uses Krav Maga. The U.S. Secret Service, the one who's protecting the president, uses a little bit of Krav Maga. Other countries, Belgium, Federal Police uses Krav Maga. The French Natural German Gendarmerie, this is like more of a unit that's more like a Royal Guard kind of thing. They use it. Some Canadians, tactical policing teams uses it. So does that make sense? So it is a shit MMA system. I will never use it for MMA. I'll go back to my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background and my kickboxing background if I was to fight an MMA fighter. But if I'm on the streets and I'm street fighting, I'll be using that mixed with Krav Maga. And I'll be going for weaknesses, eyes, throats, everything, and trying to escape. because you never know if the guy has a knife afterwards. You may knock him down, and you might think you win an MMA match, right? And you're trying to do an armbar or a rear naked choke, but the guy may have a knife out of his pocket and just poke you right in the fucking eyes, and you cannot see it. It happens all the time, especially in Brazil. That's why police do not use Brazilian jiu-jitsu for the units in Brazil, because the gangsters keep stabbing them with a knife on the ground. So they don't use that. I hope that answers your question. For a street fight, it's very different. If you ever fought in the ground in the streets, it really hurts. You get scraped everywhere. I might have fought on the ground, and I've been in a lot of fights in Krav Maga. I do sparring. Not all Krav Maga spars or learn ground fighting and weapon disarming. I've also learned like how to deal with hostage rescue and also VIP protection. So if you need a bodyguard in Vancouver, you can hire me. I know how to deal with that kind of shit. So, but that's also used for bodyguards too, for protecting VIPs around the world. You can always go to Israel and hire somebody to be your bodyguard. So, but yes, I hope that answers your questions about Krav Maga. It is a real system. I remember another Latino guy tell me that it's not a real system. It is just something that's made up on the internet. No, I trained in it physically for 5 years. It's an IDF system. I hope that answers your question. I know that we went off the tangent. We got to talk about next thing soon. So if most POAs are comfortable approaching women and they don't know the neurotypical folks, then why is the term approach anxiety? Okay, that's a good question, right? Did you indicate that neurotypical folks will not even be considerate? They will not consider it. They'll probably go on Tinder or something like that, or they'll try and meet in a social circle or night game. They will not consider it at all for a day game. They'll try and meet their coworkers and stuff like that, but they'll be swiping on Tinder because they'll think it's really creepy to be approaching. And also your question about that, most PUAs are more. Oh, approach anxiety is very simple. Okay, approach anxiety. To understand it, the theory was that in a social circle before, this is what Mystery said. I don't know if it's true, but if you approach the alpha male's girlfriend or his girlfriends in the tribe, you might get your head bashed in. So people are very afraid to approach women because in the tribe, one wrong move in a social circle can get you isolated and not procreating. So it creates a super fear that your bloodline could be wiped out. But lots of Latinos, half the Latino students for pickup artists, they have a super fear. So a lot of the students, I wouldn't say there's many. There's only like 6 students or something, bad students. 5 of them have approach anxiety to the maximum. One of them does not. But they sound very angry and very depressed. But the rest of the Latinos who got laid, usually the shorter guys, right? They're like ninjas. They learn ninja game. The taller guys do not get laid. Usually only one taller guy got laid because he had the samurai afterwards with Elite Playbook. But taller guys cannot because of the Donald Trump situation, lowering their score twice. The high SMV unteachable cases. They cannot adapt to a ninja game. They have to be a samurai. They're not going to make it during 2025. Latinos will not get laid for a day game unless you're short, because short people have nothing to lose. They have to be ninjas. They know that they cannot SMV it. The tall guys have a lot of pride because all the tall guys had multiple girlfriends before. Okay. I actually thought that most of us would consider this because our own issues is that we're not succeeding via normal and other methods. Well, yeah, that's what game is for zombies who basically have ADHD. They're sociopathic, autistic, right? And they're delusional. And they want to find a shortcut because the 4 traits of low self-esteem are delusions, half-assing it, the bad decisions, fail in 4 months, and quitting. That's why you see a lot of people quitting because they have low self-esteem. But they make a lot of bad decisions. That's why you see a lot of these guys do not show up for homework assignments, checking in daily. And that's why they're delusional. Try and blame everything on me. They should not blame me. They should blame themselves. Let's continue talking about number 3. So the third secret is that before the inflation, my students only focus on body language, the diagonal stance, the 45 degree. The stance isn't square off and it doesn't create cortisol. So if you are a big, strong guy squaring off, right? Imagine you're like a big guy and you're muscular, you're 325 pounds. What is she going to do? She's 5'3" and you're squaring off, giving a direct compliment. She's going to be very afraid. So squaring off is creating a numbers game. Giving direct compliments is creating a numbers game. Speaking super fast is creating a numbers game. Collecting flaky phone numbers without the 55% nonverbal communications, 38% 8% tonality is creating a numbers game that you cannot win. Does it make sense? So if you are a big, strong guy, it's intimidating. You got to think it's pressure and release. And the more you square off when you're tall and you're big, you can create so much pressure, a numbers game, a pressure cooker. That's why the hybrid opener we discussed, it was designed to be like a weapon disarm. You're disarming her fear. It is like, it's a release valve. That's why you go indirect, so that way you don't get a compliment and reject it if she's better looking than you. You can only get women below your looks level. That's why you have to switch the topic. Oh, by the way, it's not a pressure cooker. X plus Y, are you Z, adaptive opener, is not a pressure cooker because it's natural. She wants to stay. It's not a pickup artist. Oh, statements of empathy. It's disarming her fear. I know this is very random that we're talking now. People don't talk to each other, and I'm born here. Just to say you're not Latino, that's how you disarm. Statements of empathy. You got to have emotional intelligence. If she's afraid that you approach during the tariff era, you got to call it out. Hey, I don't mean to startle you, or I know this is random, but I'm born here and people don't communicate anymore. I was just having a good day. That's why I'm talking to you. Right? I had a good day at work. Just want to spread the vibe, right? I'm a social butterfly. She's like, oh, it's okay. When she says okay, you disarm. You get it? You disarm. So pressure and release. It's all about release valve. This is key because my students would excessively drill down for Elite 30 or my Kaizen program. Have you seen that? Kaizen is what? Normally before the extra 7 days of social skills flow drill, it was a 30-day program. Look at let's see here. Elite 30, yes. Elite 30 from Hotcakes to Hero. That course is a 30-day challenge. So both of them have this 21 days in a row habit. Now I'm making Elite Access have the 21 days in a row. I know it's harder to focus when you're half-assing it because of the inflation, but I'm trying to make it another 21 days. Does that make sense? When the students can actually do 21 days. In the beginning, they cannot. Once they hit 21 days, they automatically get laid. It's not typical, but most people do. But most people cannot make the 21 days because of the inflation and because they have excessive severe ADHD. I hope that makes sense. Because of that, then they can, that's what's happening. A lot of like students are just not showing up. It's typical of, I'm not talking about all Latinos or all Indians, but Latinos and Indian pickup artists don't show up very often. They have the most success is ADHD. Indians would disappear for 3 weeks at a time. All the time. Latinos would disappear every 3 days, then they're off for 2 more weeks. They'll show up for like the next time, then they'll show up 3 days, they'll disappear for like 3 days. They'll come back one day, they'll disappear for another 3 weeks. You get it? That's how Latinos are like. Latinos and Indians are similar. If you look at the scientific studies of the how much ADHD, there was a number for prevalence in children in Indian schools versus Latino schools, or I mean, like, United States and Latinos, the number is 19 for Indians for how much ADHD is very high. For Latinos is 11, but still, I'm not saying all Latinos. I'm just saying the pickup artists, most likely, all of them have severe ADHD. That's why for them, it's hard to make money. They don't even have more than $2,000 liquid in their bank account. At most, they have 1,500 or less. They can barely afford Elite Bundle resurrections. They have so much expenses, and because they get depressed, they like to spend the money on stupid shit. That's why Latino students, when they're tall and they don't actually take the supplements, none of them took the, okay, we look at data points. None of the tall Latino students took the supplements. They dismissed it. Number two, none of them did the mindset playlist. They didn't finish it the second phase. I'm making my other students finish phase 2 now. Okay, 2 bad students right now are starting phase 2. They have to call themselves out. They get angry because they're far left, but they call themselves out. I can make the audio. It sounds like they're talking to themselves. It's not trying to attack them. It's more like it's like calling them out. It's the David Goggins concept, Navy SEALs. David Goggins in his book, Can't Hurt Me, he has an exercise called the accountability mirror. You have to call yourself out in front of the mirror so that way you can destroy your ego and stop protecting yourself, trying to excuse yourself, giving yourself a pat on the back. Make sense? That's the secret. You got to call yourself out. So they're all 21-day programs. I'm trying to make elite access during this inflation. I know that's not fair. Before, it was not like a 21 days in a row, but you try to get that 21 days because the habits will lead to results. Most people don't have a memory due to cortisol nowadays. The only students I'm getting, no more psychopaths. No more psychopaths. I'm getting the other types. The psychopaths have already left. The engineers are no longer making as much money because AI has taken all their jobs and they have to work twice as hard. Now we're left with the other type, the crashing out type, the no remorse types, the intense types. So basically, you have to do it until second nature, even if it's 10 minutes a day. It doesn't take a long time. 10 minutes is like getting my feedback. You might not think is a lot, but imagine in a boot camp, right? I give you feedback on what your biggest mistakes are. If you get that daily, it's almost like a boot camp. And the drills are, if they're good enough, then you'll adapt in the field. So it takes 21 days to develop a habit. Procrastinating and skipping days, if in a 21-day chain, right? If you break the habits, if you disappear for 3 days, it's almost like you're watering a seed. You're germinating it, but then you don't water it for 3 days and it keeps dying. Then you water it again, and then you don't water it for 3 days and it keeps dying. And you water it again, then you water, and then it dies. Your brain needs 21 days to assemble a new habit. The neural pathways are interesting. In your brain, it grows. All these wires will come out your neural pathways and they'll connect to each other. It's like they're growing, they're learning a new skill, they're growing. Eventually they'll touch. Now is a new neural pathway. Two big things. It looks like a 2 scrambled eggs, right? With wires. Now they're all connected. That's neural pathways. So if your brain keeps having neural pathways, then when you're out there, you automatically will do the things that you train, just like an army, just like an MMA. Get it? That was the big secret. If I can just get you 21 days doing something, then I can collect my late testimonials. The only reason why students got late this year is that they all connected that 21 days. That's a big secret. Give it a thumbs up. Only one like. So that's the thing. This seduces women and builds attraction at the same time. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, if you do 10,000 approaches, John, you will get laid right away for Daygame. I mean, it has to work, right? Because in the past, it used to work, right? For example, some of the Latinos are tall. They remember the good old days. They got multiple girlfriends even at the same time. Just by doing approaches before the pandemic, before the inflation. Now they all quit to night game or bar game. They don't even get matches on Tinder. It has to work, right? Volume with tactics. We got to go back to mystery because that worked for us before. Got multiple girlfriends, 3 girlfriends at the same time in high school. 3 girlfriends. So therefore, we have to go back to mystery method. No. Why is it not working now? Why is it not working now? Because here's the tricky thing. That only a few people who got laid this year, doing that for months, right? Maybe one person. They're like 6'2" and above and very good looking. 5'9" is the national average. I'm going to say this again. Okay? Which is called the fail safe. If you're 5'9" and you're 1 inch below, 5'8", before the pandemic, before the inflation, you only had to do 200 more approaches to get a 4 out of 10. You don't have to be 20 out of 35. You could be like 19 out of 35 or maybe 18. But you do all those approaches. Now you do 200 extra on top of what you need. You might need like 700 approaches. Now we add 200 more. That's 900. Let's say you're 5'8". Now you have to add an extra 200, 400 approaches. You're 5'7". Right? That's like 600 more approaches. You're 5'6". 800 more approaches, 5'5". 1,000 more approaches on top of the 500. Get it? That was before the pandemic. They had to do all these extra approaches. Make sense? Is it all making sense now? That was the good old days. Those are long gone. There is no more good old days. It's completely annihilated. It's completely gone. And these people want to go back to that and be a samurai and swing their big game sword. As they're burning their DVDs with the women, they're just really not able to do it because there's no more fail safe. Get it? That was the big secret. The fail safe automatically, if you burn enough DVDs and burn them out, eventually somebody is going to take the DVD and text you back, go on a date, a 4 out of 10, and you're going to get laid, or a 5 out of 10. That's gone. That's why you're getting flakes. My students don't get flakes. They don't have shit tests. They don't deal with last minute resistance. None of that stuff exists. You're like, wow. So you're saying Daygame is a skill game that you have to build a neural pathway to build a new bridge that are like a bunch of scrambled eggs with wires connected together. So that way you can permanently change your habits. That way to raise your points, John, you're 20 out of 35, just to be able to get laid in 2025. And you need to use elite tonality mastery to hide the cortisol. I don't know what else to tell you. That's the only thing that's working. My system is the only one that works. Just one system rules them all. If you don't like me because you heard some false rumors on Reddit, now that we dealt with the rumors, right? And people are like, "Oh, I get it now. Sorry, John. I don't want to move the goalpost," but they don't have a counter argument. They realize John's not an evil person. John's a very caring person. He cares so much about his students that he's willing to discipline them so that way they can build their neural pathways. Don't you understand? It's so caring to help the students build their neural pathways. You need discipline. But I'm just saying almost all my students this year has been far left, Kamala Harris voters. The psychopaths are all gone. So if you're a psychopath out there, you're engineer and you don't feel any emotions, you don't care, and you're not delusional, please come back. I need you back. I need more late testimonials from you guys. I've been able to get the far left laid, right? The ninjas. But please come back, psychopaths. Please come back. Please, please come back. I need you. All right. So how did you arrive to the needy? Not 18 alter. Okay, that's a strange thing, right? Because all these years, I've been teaching since 2012. At first, when I start teaching people, in 2012, I didn't know why, but all the students that were above 6 foot tall all got laid. The Asians did not get laid. You know that? I could not get a single Asian laid until 2016. You're like, really? So 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, there was no solutions to transfer to the other Asian students. They got fucking demolished. So I knew that race does matter. Because another tall Indian guy who's good looking, who's 6'4", he got laid with a Filipina. And he quit day game and he started teaching night game. So I thought to myself, wait a minute, Indians are above Asians. That's how it came up with the idea, the hierarchy. The height is what gives the looks. Eventually, I start split testing all the fashion. We came to only one ninja outfit. And we realized that we can raise the money. But money, if it's all the way up, right, the Chinese, who was rich before, will all be getting women, right, white women easily. It's not the case. So it's not really out of 10, it's out of 5. That's how I figured that part out. The social skill, social calibrations, emotional control, right? I learned it from a 5'4" Pakistani natural in Vancouver who has the same hair color as me. So, yeah, I learned from a lot of naturals, a Pakistani guy. He was friends with my old roommate. And I paid him. I said, teach me everything you know. Here's 150. Don't pay me. I'll teach you everything. No. If I'm going to take your time and your expertise and spend a couple hours with you, teach me everything. I want to record it. I have the recordings. I want to record this. You tell me everything you know. He talked about social skills a lot, not just the social calibrations. He says, you have very good game, John, but you need to improve the social skills, social calibrations, and emotional control. Also, I learned from another natural about emotional impact, emotional control. He was always very relaxed, an older guy. My Pakistani mentor had all these traits too. All the naturals that I knew over 12 naturals. They all had social skills because they talk to everyone. Does that make sense? They socialize with men and women. So they're talking the store, they'll talk with them. They're only sharpening their skills for social skills to raise the points. And they always have a perfect body language. They're very chill, relaxed. That's where I got the idea, not emotional impact of PUAs, emotional control. If you can control and be relaxed for your emotions, that's another 2.5 points. That's why they start taking supplements to reduce the cortisol. You get it? I always taught social calibrations from Elite 30. That's when I started getting Asians laid, when they learned social calibrations and social skills. So they're raising 2.5 points, 2.5, that's 5 points. That's 5 points right there. Social skills, social calibrations. 5 points. So the Asians kept getting laid. And that's where my lay testimonials was nonstop. I was getting over 100 laid and pulled instances of testimonials a year. If they come back and they got like, girlfriends and multiple lays, it only counts as one because I can only screenshot that. But then I was getting over 100 a year and lots of haters. You know that? It's not like this is my first hater. I was getting haters every single year. I was getting like people suicide bombing me, losing their minds and saying lies and stuff. There's like 12 of them a year. You block them, they'll attack you again. You just hope early on that you ignore them early enough that you don't fight with them, because it's like talking to a demon. Once you talk to a demon, it's like talking on a Ouija board to a demon. They'll have to talk to you through their out accounts or something like that. They'll feel like a connection to you. And then all of a sudden, like the demons, the walls will start to shake around you in the house. And then they'll try to possess you by doing a smear campaign. You get it? Those are the 3 stages of a sociopath. I'm not saying anyone here or anyone recently. I'm just saying those are the 3 stages I know of a sociopath. Number 1, the Ouija board, friendly communication, out accounts. Number 2, shaking your walls. Number 3, the smear campaign. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, have I experienced smear campaigns? It's not the first time I've gone through it. I go through it like almost like before, like when I got my fucking second 200th late testimonial, more smear campaigns from multiple people. Number 3 is like more than the number of 400 late testimonials. 500 people shut up. It takes until 500 until people start respecting me. Then you pass 600, right? Now you're 666. Now you get another one. It's like, okay, it's just like it's the cost of doing business. I've experienced so many, so I'm used to it. So whatever, I don't care. Right? People get turned on, they'll be turned on again. Once they see that I'm not the aggressor, because people that have smear campaigns, it's always like everything they say about you is fake. It's almost like how to destroy the guy's business by telling lies. Let's tweak everything that you say into like not even a half truth, 99% lie, and stack it and gaslight people around. It's just like it's in every single. If you look at any literature on the Google, right, for smear campaigns, like type in sociopath smear campaign, you'll find the same things. It's the same articles everywhere. So I can read through it. I have a video on it. I can repost it. With all this Ouija board concept, this and that. I'm used to it. I'm used to it. I don't care. But to think that other people he's taking away their opportunity to procreate, because my Indian student who's gonna marry a white girl who's his girlfriend from my training, it's ridiculous. Taking away you're taking away other people's chances to procreate just because they can't, because they're a samurai and they're talking about previous success, should not take away the current people ability to get laid, because this is the only system that's still working. The 21-day system with their scrambled eggs and wires that creates neural pathways. That's the secret. The biggest secret. Here's the biggest secret. I'm secretly, listen carefully. Okay, I'm going to say in the microphone here. Okay. The biggest secret behind all this shit, guys, listen. I'm secretly trying to make people do drills so that way they can develop the same neural pathways as those 12 naturals. I'll say this again. The biggest secret behind all these drills is just so I can drill down the same skills as the 12 naturals. So they're identical. That was the big secret. They didn't understand why social skills was important. All this ninja stuff was just a smokescreen. It's just to build naturals because they're unnatural. They have to build the skills until it's second nature. I'm just basically rebuilding a bigger army of naturals than my mentors. That's all. That was the big secret. Don't tell anyone. I'm basically turning all these zombies into humans, into superhuman or supernaturals. That's a big secret. That's why there's 21-day drills, because of Krav Maga. I've been studying for 5 years, like the army. That's why I built a system like Krav Maga to install the skills of a natural. Don't tell anyone. That was the big secret. They just don't know it. The whole day game industry does not know what a real natural is. None of the dating coaches are naturals. They're all fake naturals. I met real naturals because of my Pakistani mentor. He was the one who invited me. He saw some of my posts and he disagreed with me about lifestyle. And he had to teach me everything. He taught me all the secret locations of Vancouver, to approach women. He showed me all the secrets on how you can DHV I don't like these stories, but by going to restaurants, taking pictures of the menu and talking about it, he does not use Instagram. We know all of the secrets of all how to game every single event, like fashion model shows and stuff like that. That's why you see me standing next to fashion models because my Pakistani mentors there. How to use all this stuff, like all these social engineering, all these trade secrets, where to stand, where all the women will walk out of the SkyTrain. Then we can choose who to approach by using choke points. We know all the secrets of where to approach where there's no more shield. Women do not put up the shields, and how to be natural and not look like a PUA. We know all the secrets that you've never heard of before. We know exactly all the fashion. We know all the colognes. We know exactly what to say, how to say it, whitewash tonality. We know exactly all this shit. In natural, some of them actually does the maneuver sexualized objections looping. They do the same thing. I'm just secretly teaching you what they do, and you're all calling me crazy. You're just seeing something that's already proven to work. And these guys are all millionaires too, the guys I know. For some reason, they all live in fucking mansions and shit. You saw me in my Pakistani mentor's mansion. They're just supernaturals. That's all. They're all millionaires, multimillionaires, the way they think. So I was secretly just turning you guys into naturals. And then some of the people that are Latinos were so angry about it because it goes against their nature of being like zombie. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying all Latinos. I'm just saying pickup artists. That was a big secret. That's why I did it. I was just secretly turning you to them. So basically, if you're below 5'9", right, 200 extra approaches on top of what you normally do. So, but like I said, because once the inflation hits, right, so they got minus 2.5 points for their tonality. Now, this no longer works. The fail safe of the 10,000 approaches automatically. Some people have actually done 10,000 approaches without results. Tall, good looking guys has done over 10,000 approaches. It took them over 10 years. Didn't work. Didn't work. You know how many approaches have I made in total? I probably made over like 2,000, I mean, 27,000 approaches. So, I have a lot of approaches. I found out what works and what doesn't. Only the arrow science works. And the rest of it is from the natural to support the maneuver sexualized objections looping, which naturals actually do. Not all of them, but some of them. Some of them do number closes, some of them do the arrow science. Don't you get it, guys? This is secretly ripped from the naturals. And they're like, John, this is what they said to me in the mansion, the naturals. Wait a minute. You can actually teach people game and actually make money from it? Are you serious? They have no idea about this day game industry. And I say, hey, dude, I'm going to write down everything in this red binder, right? I think I still have it there. Right? And they're like, well, you should give me a little bit of royalty. I'm not giving you shit. Teach me everything you know. I write everything down in the mansion. And one guy, like, he's 5'9", he's white, he's a little bit chubby, but he was getting like Instagram looking women. He doesn't have an Instagram, like models, but butterface, right? But super nice bodies, like 10 out of 10. Faces like fucking 7 out of 10. And it's not all the time, but he taught me that women always look for one thing that they'll disqualify you with. You always want them to ask you questions to find out what frame you are. But you have to be very careful not to knock yourself out. They always need that one excuse because they're a filtering system. I learned all these secret golden nuggets from the people. You understand that? I know an extra layer of game that is mastery that I've never talked about until now. Understand that? I know all these secrets. How my Pakistani mentor, he invites like female friends first just to get comfortable in the mansion. Then he invites 2 fuck buddies, and he got 15 lays in a row with 9 out of 10 women, because he gets more comfortable. He raises his social skills like a natural. He sharpens his comfort, and then for pulling, and then he closes all these women that I see right in front of me. All these are secret stuff that guys don't know. I do not teach this stuff. You'll never learn. I've been keeping this secret from you guys. That's why every 6 years I release more. Elite Tonality Mastery was 6 years after Elite 30. The next 6 years, you're going to learn more of these kind of things. So this is why I can dominate the whole day game industry. I know a secret game behind the game, like a secret society of players and naturals. You will never find them because they're invisible. All over Vancouver. I know who they are. We always make fun of pickup artists. Oh, John, is that your friend over there? No. because he's looking, he's like he's acting like a PUA. That's your friend. It's not my friend. Oh, look at him. We always make fun of their body language. We make fun of how these guys are ninjas. They're invisible. So I also updated Elite Bundle Resurrections for you. So now you can build habits in 21 days. Before, Elite Access, right? I didn't force people to do it for 21 days. Now they have to have a commitment contract. Most of my courses now are in 21 days for everything. There's no secret. Elite Tonality Mastery, they spend like, you know, they have to write down 6 times in a row for every video. 6 times 5, 30 days. Get it? It's all related. To learn it, to install it. It's to add more points to their 20 out of 35, like a natural. You can't add points by mass approaching. Since you are reinforcing bad habits, you can't fix your issues behind your eyes if you don't record it. So what gets measured gets accomplished. I'll say this again because we're recording the students' drills and stuff. What gets measured gets accomplished. So with my supervision, you can correct these issues. So if you're a person who has severe ADHD, who is lazy, of course you will have gaps until you finally do the 21 days installing the skills or breaking habits plan. That day when you show up for 3 weeks, you get laid. It's like the Death Star, right? You know, it's like beam number 1, right? Beam number 2 together, and beam number 3. Once you get to 21 days, beam number 4. Once you get like all 10 beams and you shoot like a big beam, it blows up a fucking planet, and then you get laid, right? It's the same thing. How to get those 21 days to get all the Death Star beams aligned? Because the focus and the neural pathways, these fucking like eggs, right? They're like scrambled eggs, right? With wires coming out of it. That's what neural pathway looks like. If we can just get all the neural pathways connecting together, their habits will be automatic. I don't have to reteach them. I just have to maintain it a little bit. Once they install it, that's why they keep doing it. Even when they say, why am I doing singing lessons for 21 days? Well, all the students who done it all got laid. Mr. M over there, all these people got laid. So let's see here. If my friend can get a number and set me up on a date, could I pull? No, because you have to do the interaction. So she only remembers like when you burn a DVD, right? The interaction. She only remembers your friend's stuff. She's only gonna have sex with your friend if she brings that thing over there, right? She's gonna look at that as your friend. She's not gonna look at you. So you cannot do that. It will not work. Next question. What's with the inner circle going to be at the end of the month? I think how to maybe deal with resistance. We need to bring back a little bit of, in case you deal with a little bit resistance during inflation, because the other Latino student, when he was depressed, he was not taking St. John's wort. He had a huge like frown. A lot of Latino students, they all have a frown. A lot of mugshots, they have a frown too for the ice rates. I'm not saying all Latinos. I don't want to generalize the entire population, but those guys, they have a frown, the sociopathic types. Not all of them. I'm not I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying. But it's not a frown, it's just depression. So when they have the depression, they get rejected. Now that when he takes the supplements, he doesn't get rejected, his sets last longer. In fact, Mr. P, you also have the same frown. You just haven't taken your supplements. You have such a frown, it's just like this. It smiles like this. Give a thumbs up. But you smile like this. That's why you're stuck. In fact, I think you're the only student I kicked out primetime. Mr. P, this year, just one student. I never kicked out a second one. So it's not like I kick out nonstop students, right? Like the fake Reddit review. Come on now. Come on now. So that's right. Factually, I kicked you out of Elite Access, but you're still in the inner circle. So you're fine. You still learned something. But you were such a bad student and you just didn't listen over and over. You got banned a few times and then you don't want to listen. You keep beating yourself up, in rage quitting or just procrastinating. That's why you're kicked out. But most people don't get kicked out. They get banned, but it's not like they're put in a limbo. They have to learn early. Some of the students are banned late. 2 people are banned for 3MP, and also another Latino guy finally got his first ban after like a couple months of training, more than 1 month of training. So, but you have to ban eventually. Otherwise, they're not going to listen. You can be nice to them and try to coddle them. They're not going to do anything. So basically, if you show up for 3 weeks, you get late for 21 days. And also, Mr. D, right? You did not show up for 21 days. You got banned. You did it for like maybe 5 days, and then you crashed out. What I mean was, if my friend go on a date, right, brings me along and leaves me early, and I got my friend, Mr. A Success, with an Asian girl, and he won it. I invited her to a date. He joined, and I left. It's not going to work. Actually, no, it can work. But if you try the same day late, then it'll work very well. Does that make sense? This is like a Superman Batman game or Batman Robin game. If you and her, you pull her together, one person has sex first for the insta date, and then later on you can pass off to the other person. Does that make sense? Because she's complying with the first guy, then she'll have sex with the second guy during a same day late, same day pull. It will not work during a number of close because she gets to think logically. Those very rare instances, she'll remember like the interaction with the other person if you disappear, right? So I hope that makes sense. Should I work if Mr. A takes a while a girl and brings me along? It will not work. I told you. You have the same day lay together. One person has to close first, and the other person can be passed along to the second person. Otherwise, it's not going to work. All right, let's continue. So basically, if you show up for 3 weeks, you get late. So Mr. D, you only show up 5 days. You rage quit. You've been banned for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't remember. But it's like the Death Star. That's why you're stuck, because you also have very similar traits to other people that are unteachable cases. You crashed out a lot. Normal, my psychopathic students do not crash out because they don't have this sort of like meltdowns, right? They don't have the meltdowns, but they're not day gaming right now. They're like doing fucking MGTOW work and stuff. But the ones who crash out, right? The more they get triggered, eventually it's got like a balloon that's full of crash out, trigger, trigger, trigger. And then boom, they crash out and they lose their mind. They melt down. They become delusional. You can't talk to them. You have to ban them for a few weeks. They come back and they're like, sorry, John, I didn't know what happened. I was delusional. That's what's happening. You show up for 5 days and then you refuse after 2 or 3 days, you got banned. Same story. That's what's happening with the 3MP guy. So, like I said, only a far left type of brain can do that. And I know that I asked you, will you vote for Kamala Harris? You're Canadian, but will you vote for Kamala Harris? And you said yes. They already voted for Kamala Harris, the ones who crashed out, because they're irrational and they're woke. So it's like the Death Star. All the beams, they have to be like a big beam, and then you get delay. You hit 20 out of 35. And then once you get delay, they lose all their motivation to practice drills. They become a late testimonial. They have a girlfriend, or now they have like a future partner. The Indian guy is going to propose. And so what this is going to do is to help you figure out how to show up for 21 days in a row, or at least not missing more than 2 days. So as I'm the world's best day game coach, in case you guys don't know who I am on the second channel, I have 666 late and pull testimonials or instances for day game. And if you got like 100 lays or 50, it still counts as one instance if you come back later and credit my coaching. So what I do is I help you install the habits for 21 days to be a natural. Then you self-correct in the field. That's why, Mr. D, that you're able to sound whitewashed, but you still sound very triggered. You need to vent that out. You haven't followed all the steps yet. Today is your first day back. So let's see. So you're saying this tactic, right, will work on my Asian girl, but not on the white girl. This one, no, it'll work on both white girls and Asian girls, but somebody has to close her first. So one of you two will have to be attractive enough in your 20 out of 35 that you're burning to be able to get in the bed with her, have sex first, and then once they say, it ain't no fun until my homies get some, and then you can pass it off to the second person. But one person has to be able to close first. Get it? That's the only way to do it. It has to be a same day pull to a same day lay. Otherwise, it won't work with full number of closes. All right, let's continue. You know who Mr. A? I won't say his name. I have no idea. Oh, are you saying that low SMV person? Oh, he's not going to be able to get into the date. You drop the plan. All right, next one. So it's like MMA, right? Where you do the drills, exercises before you go in the ring. So if you don't, you get demolished or you lose every single fight or get rejected by women, metaphorically speaking. Don't forget, Mr. D, you got 11 dates so far, right? Just follow the fucking steps, stop crashing out, and keep getting more dates until you get that pull. Then I can teach you the arrow science, right? 11 dates is not bad. It really is not bad, compared to before. You never got dates in Vancouver. The tonality helped you a lot. Today's your first day back. We will discuss your homework assignment for the mindset playlist. You got to create the phase 2. I'll write on top of every single um, piece of your mindset playlist. And then we'll see. You start filling it, you start populating it, that you don't crash out and you don't skip days and get triggered. Once you fill everything, right? Then I'll make an audio for you. And something like in your similar to your voice. I'll pick like a text to speech voice that sounds like your voice. So it's familiar. This is not to attack your own far left brain to trigger you. This is to break your ego so that way you can move faster. The bad Latino students never done this process. Mr. D, you haven't done this process. All the people that fail has not done this process. If you do this, you inoculate your brain, your mental vaccine, and in 3 days before you crash out again, you have a booster. This actually will get you laid because skill set without mindset will lead to upset. So, no, he's not a student. He's mine. Okay, yeah, but I probably know reference like I know who he's talking about. All right, let's continue. So basically, every single time with game techniques, mass approaching, if you have more skills, you need less game to get laid for Daygame. So what I've done is I've created elite bundle resurrections for you. And yes, there's a sale right now because I forgot to promote it because people are turned off because of the false accusations. But right now, there's a discount. It doesn't mean there's always a discount, but temporarily, I have lowered the price of my sales letter. I'll put it in the description later on. I don't have time to do it right now. So if you click the link in the description or the pinned comments, you'll find it. So I honestly don't know how much longer I'll keep the Elite Bundle Resurrections at this price. I'm going to raise it up by $200 at the end of September. That's my plan because I want to price people out of it. If you only have $1,000 to your name, I want to make sure you cannot afford it so I can get the bad students filtered out. So, however, I also will be raising the price at the end of September by over $200. So if you want to learn more, please check out the sales letter in the description and pinned comments. Don't waste the summer. Remember, I'm a good coach. Don't listen to the false accusations. Since we found out 99% is all made up, it's all wrong. It's all a hit piece. That's what they are. I get hit pieces. Like, look, I dealt with like lots of people like that, smear campaigns all the time. Every year, I get a new one. So it's not new, right? So this is just the next one. No big deal. You get turned off for like a short time, then you realize that, oh shit, John was right about everything, and then you get turned on again. And it's like, yeah, it happens, right? It happens. So click the link to get laid, and you have to do all the work. Try to make the 21-day happen. If you cannot do it in the beginning, that's fine. You keep working at it until you can focus the 21-day beam of the Death Star. Then you can destroy a planet or get laid. I'm always here to help. And I can't tell you all the amazing results that I've already gotten from minority students. This year, a half Jewish, half white guy already got 2 lays in one day and also an extra lay in 2025. He's also still hanging around with his 8 out of 10 Ukrainian girlfriend. He's not a girlfriend, but she's, they're still hanging around together. That he got from the code approaching after 20 lays. Another guy, Indian, right now, he's going to buy a ring and propose to his white girlfriend. Approach the girlfriend to marriage soon. Another guy has a stripper. She's half Latina and half black. And she's really, really pretty. And she's like 21 years old or 20. Another guy, Mr. M over there, he also got a lay. And he also got another fuck buddy from the gym, a Ukrainian. So he has 2 fuck buddies right now, but he got a lay and a fuck buddy. So for you guys who are just struggling with flaky phone numbers, I also have the 3MP bundle. You don't have to join a 3MP bundle unless you're like really like you have to be engineer, Asperger's, and really a hard case. We're not talking about impossible cases or unteachable cases you're not allowed, but hard cases. Your brain has to have a different structure that elite bundle resurrections. You can't do it. You need more time, you need more one-on-one training. This is for the people who can afford it. So you don't, it's not like an upsell to that. This is not allowed, basically. Most of you will not qualify to get 3MP. You have to pay all at once. You guys cannot do it. You don't even have $1,000 to your name. All right. So no, he ain't a student, but you might win. Okay. So what are your thoughts of focusing on money? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a lot of people, right? Because the tariff has been going back to focusing on work and stuff. But I think budgeting is more important than focusing on money. You always have money, but you have to budget. When you can budget, so you're no longer in debt. Mr. D, I know you're in debt. I will not talk about any details, but it is a fact that you're in debt. It's not surprising that you're in debt. Most of the Latinos are in debt for the students. I'm not talking about the general population, although 51% of them in the United States is in poverty, according to the stats. That's a real statistic. But if you have money problems, it means there might be some attention problems with ADHD. I'm not diagnosing, I'm describing. Does that make sense? Those kind of students are not the best students. The ones with ADHD will be in debt because they get depressed and they cannot feel the depression. And then they're going to spend more money to cope with it. And then they're going to have a massive frown. Their voice is going to sound depressed, but I'm not hearing my voice. That's what's going to happen. Make sense? And then they're going to blame me. But those are the only people I'm getting as students. I still got them laid. The far left. For the far right, right? The psychopaths. Please come back to my training. I need you back. The engineers, the ones with no emotions, no empathy, who's logical, who can actually think clearly and not delusional. Please come back. Right? I could get you fucking over 20 lays. Easily. Please come back. All right, let's continue. As I was saying, and also Elite Bundle, 3MP Bundle, that's more expensive, 5K course. So it has everything in one. Kaizen, mental trauma cure. It has like Elite Access, Elite 30, Elite Playbook, 3MP infield analysis. It has text game for minorities, Kaizen, Elite 60A, Elite 60B. All these courses, 20 Skypes, they're all in one. That's only for engineers in extreme hard cases with Asperger's. Nobody else can join. Nobody else can handle it. Not Blue Pill, nobody else. Only for a specific audience. Better for a psychopath who can afford it. Otherwise, stick with the Elite Bundle Resurrections. It's just my way of saying, like, listen, you want like a lesser experience, but you want something similar. So that way I don't exclude people. Elite Bundle Resurrections, $100 off. At least right now. It won't be when you listen to this in the future. It might go up $200. So that's what I'm talking about today. The Elite Bundle Resurrections, which is amazing. And I can't wait to see you on the inside. So have a great day. And tomorrow I'm going to be back here. We're going to talk about mystery method and why it does not work. Thank you for being here for that 2 hours. It took me 1 hour to write the script. I want to build this channel up. The other channel no longer gets YouTube Lives because they're ungrateful. And I'm glad I can clear my name. All right, let's end this.